International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to Today on 1. In the news tonight, City of Windhoek Council divided. City of Windhoek and government urged to speed up upgrading of informal settlements. Emergency care systems can prevent half of deaths annually, says Shangula. Farmers advised to have a successor in case of death. And Roundup, Business on 1, Comments Corner, Sports and the weather. After local authority councillors failed to show up at a City of Windhoek press conference this week, the mayor admitted to divisions amongst the council. 3 management committee members held a press conference yesterday on the financial status of the city, while the mayor held another press conference today where she addressed the appointment of the chief executive officer and rift amongst council members.
When asked if she is addressing the division among the council, the Mayor Shadea Governors said that she cannot force fellow councillors to support her leadership. Governors admitted that the lack of unity is hindering the process of delivering the much-needed services to the city of Windhoek.
I cannot force them to come to a meeting, a press conference that the chairperson of council is hosting. I cannot force them to contribute in meetings. I cannot force them to do anything because these are individuals within their capacities that understand the mandate of council, and that if we do not converge our energies and time and commitment and stop the infighting and stop whatever it is, that we will not achieve anything for the next 3 years. Council or councillors can never work in isolation. We are 15 councillors sitting here. Now imagine, for example, Nudo becomes the mayor and is the chairperson of council. And then LPM decides, we're not going to get involved and we're just going to leave everything there because we are not. What does it say about our mandate as politically elected representatives of the city of Windhoek? That we can merely not put away our side differences and be able to converge energies to make sure that services are delivered to our people.
Governors added that she will do everything in her power to continue with initiative and programs that she has for the city and its residents. She is willing to work with the councillors who want to work with her and ensure that the services are delivered to the residents until her term ends.
I am still confident that I, within my abilities as well as the councillors that will still choose to support any program, any initiative that I do in 2022, I will still continue. If any councillor feels that they do not want to support any initiative of myself or council at the stage, I cannot force them to do so. We are sitting here with 2 different press conferences being held, one by MC yesterday and one today by council, but I am the representative of council and I am one of the people that can speak on behalf of council, as well as the communications department and the acting CEO that is sitting here. We have the mandate to communicate to our residents. And it is also unfortunate that at a time where we have to report to our residents and let them know of the challenges that we face, we are sitting here with a divided council. I cannot control that. All I can control, Emil, is me, Shadei Shireen Governors. What is it that we are going to do as councillors together with those that are interested to provide services to the residents of Windhoek?
Governors warned that unless the councillors set their differences aside, they will not achieve their objectives.
Windhoek's informal settlements are expanding at an unsustainable rate, says the national coordinator of the Shack Dwellers Federation of Namibia, Edith Mbanga. Mbanga stated that the issue requires immediate action from government and communities, as well as the city of Windhoek.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
According to estimates in the Shack Dwellers Federation of Namibia and the Namibian Housing Group's 2020 annual report, around 1 million people are thought to live in shacks in Namibia. Mbanga claims that although the government has worked with the city of Windhoek to upgrade its informal settlements, this relationship does not benefit low-income groups, as it is still relatively difficult for them to access land in the city.
We are continuing with our work as a Shack Dwellers Federation. We make sure that when the community have been organized and improve their living condition. But the challenges that we are facing, especially in Windhoek, is the land from the city of Windhoek. So as we always all the time talking about the land, that was only signed an agreement with the city of Windhoek at 2005 until to date. We don't know what is happening involved. We are trying all the means that will meet with the city of Windhoek, but it's meeting that it does not exist so far. But our government partner with the city of Windhoek with informal settlement upgrading. But at the same time, the formal settlement upgrading, it doesn't really cater for the very low income people. The reason why I'm saying so, energy is building houses and giving to the community, and the houses of the energy cannot be affordable by the poor themselves, so it's very difficult for them to afford the informal settlement upgrading. That is done by the city of Windhoek. If you talk about informal settlement upgrading, you don't talk about the house. You talk about the putting infrastructure and also the water. At least this is the first entry point to the development of the town. So if you just dump, you go to a house, you end up not really successful with your plans. But if you really try and make sure that this community, they're saying themselves that, okay, this is what we want, and we really what would be our involvement in contributing towards the development that is coming to our towns. That's it. But so far, it's something that city of Windhoek, they don't understand. I don't know what is the problem, but really that communication with us is not there.
Minister of Finance Ipumbushimi mentioned his previous board membership in the Shack Dwellers Federation at last week's budget review consultation with the Finance Ministry and the civil society sector. Shimi stated that the government has commenced reviewing all relevant policies that support housing delivery, particularly for low-income groups living in informal settlements, and acknowledged that the government should invest more financial resources to address the housing crisis.
With regard to housing, I think I do not disagree with you. I think we definitely need to spend more time and resources on housing and more creating housing opportunities. I used to be a board member of the Shack Dwellers. I see my colleagues are there, and Anna is sitting there. So they are the experts. So in fact, the government has started looking at revising the housing policy and all other related policies that support housing. And she's one of the members of the panel of experts who are actually looking at that. And I'm looking forward to receive the final version of that. And it's really looking at different things. It's no longer going to government is no longer going to intervene in the usual way. We're looking at what's the best way of, for instance, upgrading the informal settlements instead of building houses. And when you're upgrading, how do you plan it better in such a way that you also create some housing opportunities for people to do business and things like that. How do you do proper mapping and things like that? So I think there are good things that are in that policy. We just need to finalize it.
The national coordinator of the Shack Dwellers Federation urged regional council members and local authorities to partner with various communities to accelerate the process of formalizing informal settlements.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The Minister of Health and Social Services, Kalumbi Shangula, said the emergency medical service system should be robust in providing effective care during emergencies as required. The minister said the system involves patient and incident management, documentation, as well as inter-hospital transfers. He made the remarks at the 10th commemoration of emergency service providers.
Shangula remarked that the World Bank Disease Control Priorities Project estimates that with sound financing and organization, emergency care systems have the potential to address nearly half of deaths and a third of disability incurred annually in low and middle income countries.
More than 80% of the Namibian population access and receive medical services from public health facilities. About 60% of patients seen at emergency departments are brought in by emergency service providers. In light of the above, the establishment of a sound pre-hospital services should involve a holistic approach as well as the commitment of all relevant stakeholders.
Commerce Region Health Director on behalf of the Commerce Region Governor said there is an increasing demand for pre-hospital care as a result of trauma from motor vehicle crashes and violence, adding that majority of deaths experienced from trauma could be prevented through a well-coordinated pre-hospital care.
The increase in demand has been further increased by the advent of COVID-19. For the past 2 years, these years have been both challenging and energy draining, especially on the part of the healthcare workers. And people have been dealing with a lot of trauma as a result of the effects of COVID-19. And guess who has been there to respond to these emergencies? It's the same cadres that we are celebrating today.
The National Road Safety Council of Namibia at the occasion said an effective and efficient emergency medical system involves multiple people, agencies and subsystems that cover early notification, effective emergency rescue services, appropriate pre-hospital care, access to good emergency medical care, good hospital-based trauma care setting, sufficient human and physical resources, effective rehabilitation to ensure speedy reintegration, data management, and the role of bystanders.
It is a system that should be ready at every minute for every day of every day for any kind of emergency that might arise. It is common knowledge that the manner in which those who are injured, particularly in road crashes, are handled and dealt with from the moment of the crash determines the chances and the quality of their survival.
The commemoration follows the Emergency Medical Service Awareness Campaign, which was launched under the theme, Health is Wealth.
There are different types of decisions, such as rational, habitual, impulsive, and coin tossing.
Let's get started.
The consumption of poultry containing food poisoning organisms, such as salmonella, but the danger to health can be dramatically reduced.
What about other organisms in the animal kingdom? Well, some animals are ectothermic.
Welcome to Lesson 5 for Grade 10 and 11 Mathematics.
Methodologies and approaches in order to produce relevant and suitable results.
Many farmers do not have trained individuals to continue their farming business in case of retirement or death. An Agribank technical advisor discussed the importance of identifying potential individuals to replace retiring or deceased farm owners during a farming lecture held at the Windhoek Showgrounds this morning.
The technical advisor of Agribank, Henk Sai, stated that in many cases farmers' businesses die once they are no longer around to run it themselves. Therefore, having a generational business plan is vital for ensuring the continuation of the business. Sai added that in farming there is always something to learn if farmers are willing to take part in learning initiatives, starting with asking the question, what makes farming a business?
Since we have been rolling out these events, we have realized that even people in remote areas, when you give them access to information and you transfer knowledge from you being a subject matter specialist to somebody who's actually doing the work on the ground, you realize that there's a positive impact in terms of productivity. And when there's productivity, you always realize that income also improves in households. And when income improves, you will see that the livelihoods of people improve. So the aim of these trainings from Agri Advisory Services Division is to ensure that capacity building is not only limited to people who are in urban areas, but we reach out to those in remote areas as well to show them the importance of being self-sufficient in terms of food. So as an institution, we are really trying, and we have developmental partners such as GIZ, the Ministry of Agriculture, Water and Land Reform, and other institutions like Agra Provision. We all have the aim of capacity building amongst farming communities.
Lilia Shaningwa, a farmer and employee at the Education Ministry, mentioned that if a farmer uses their salary in any instance for farming expenses, it is a failed business. That is why it is important for passionate farmers to be trained to generate revenue from their farming business.
Many people have realized the importance of farming, and also they've realized that many Namibians, they are now venture into farming without necessary knowledge and skills, meaning they need training. And then there are people that are conducting training and charge people. Being a government employee, I've realized that training should be part of the responsibility of the Ministry of Agriculture. And I'm encouraging fellow farmers that we must develop the culture of sharing the best practices and open the door to the upcoming farmers to share and to learn from your best practices as well as the challenges and how have you overcoming specific challenges and so on.
Hank Sai said Agribank is sharing this information to create structure in the agricultural sector and to create investment strategies for communal, commercial and subsistence farming.
Hi, I am Kerstin Ohobes-Trisep. I am a medical intern. Africa normally draws its strength from community. I am because you are. Now we're asking the community to break the chain of transmission and stay at home. Help us save lives.
This is my wife, Caroline. By staying at home, you ensure that my wife comes home to me.
The Minister of Industrialization and Trade, Lucia Ipumbu, is in Accra, Ghana to attend the meeting of African Continental Free Trade Area Council of Ministers responsible for trade from the 25th to the 26th of July. The ministers are expected to consider the report of the 11th meeting of the senior trade officials and the report of the 5th meeting of the Committee of Director General of Customs. The ministers will also be presented with a report of the African Continental Free Trade Area Dispute Settlement Body. Namibia is among the member states that have submitted their draft schedule of specific commitments on trade in services to the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat, which has been verified to meet the requirement and modalities for trade in service negotiations that member states should improve their offers at the World Trade Organization. The other member states that submitted the draft schedules of specific commitments include Djibouti, Democratic Republic of Congo, the East African Community, Egypt, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mauritius, Seychelles, and Zambia, to name a few. Ipumbu will, during the two-day deliberations, emphasize the need for a speedy conclusion on trade in service negotiations, given the fact that trade in service contributes immensely to Africa's gross domestic product. Namibia seeks to expedite the conclusion regarding sugar negotiations by imploring member states to move towards a compromising situation of give and take to make positive strides on the issue.
And responsible farming practices must be part of the answer to the challenge of sustainability. But is science moving quickly enough to fulfill the needs of humanity?
The main reason why it's at this height is for the harvester comfort. So right now in California we have a labor shortage. There is not as many people who want to do the work of harvesting strawberries. It's really hard.
I think one of the differences between being an indoor farmer and an outdoor farmer, in a greenhouse in particular, we try and take advantage of the best of both worlds.
I would say, either someone's got a family characteristic that they just say, you know what? It's a female that says, I don't want my dad's nose.
Yeah, I could see that. Okay, and yeah, it's pretty obvious, and we'll get you back there and get it all fixed for you, okay?
Up next is Business on One with Joseph Shifeni.
Welcome to this evening's edition of Business on One. A local entrepreneur who aspires to uplift fellow youth in business has set out to provide a platform where they can showcase their products and earn an income. Hans Namutewa has organized the Mansa Musa Festival, which is scheduled for this weekend in Karutura's Donkerhoek location. Namibia's youth unemployment rate now stands at a staggering 50% according to the Namibia Statistics Agency. Hence, entrepreneur Hans Namutewa took a decision to offer students a free platform to exhibit their products. Namutewa says such a high unemployment figure would mean many young people are struggling to get by. The 29-year-old entrepreneur says as an events organizer, he wants to give back to the community by providing a platform for aspiring entrepreneurs to showcase their talents and products.
It's actually an event that is derived from my birthday. I always celebrate my birthday each year, but I've seen that I took an approach of using my small popularity and my influence and my position in the society to celebrate with the people and also to advantage other people to reap from my little exposure that I have in the nation, to say I'm not the person who feel I should go to South Africa, fly out to go having flaunting champagnes and what for my birthday, but I decided to make it with the people that made me. So I actually came up with this opportunity to give the youth a platform whereby they can come and showcase their products, where they can come and do their presentations, where they can come and do their marketing and their promotion for their businesses. So actually we are doing it both. It's actually a fully fledged festival, to say a celebration of my birthday, but I'm giving back to the community in that sense. In fact, it's also also backed up by the fact that I've been doing entertainment or dealing in the entertainment sector for long, and I've seen that COVID has done a lot of damage to actually platforms and chances of our people showcasing their art. So I've seen that artists are very hungry to produce, they are very hungry to perform, they need platforms, but they are not there. So with me being in the entertainment scene for a while, I decided to create this platform to give them 3 days whereby they can come in front of a crowd and actually do performances. So that's why we actually, if you look at it, we are having a long lineup of artists in our performance list.
The Mansa Musa Festival is set to take place at the Dubai Lounge from the 29th to the 30th of July. As the proud owner of a number of successful businesses in Windhoek, Namutewa looks forward to engaging fellow youth and sharing knowledge on solving challenges that they face. He called on fellow entrepreneurs to do more in assisting others, especially during challenging economic times.
We give this out in very different ways. With those that are able and they maybe still growing their business and we know they still have the means, they are paying a little amount like a 500 for a stall so that they can come showcase their products. But we are also giving a platform for people like students who are struggling with their businesses to raise them up, or the students who want to raise money maybe for their tuition fees and whatnot. We are giving them free stalls, those ones. So there is always such a platform. Like what we did in Ongwediva, we had an activation in Ongwediva at the beginning of the month. It was also just a whole weekend event. That is an activation for the main event coming month end. So what we did, we called out students from around Ongwediva, and they should just prove that they are having pending fees at schools so that we can give them a platform where they should come, and we have assisted them with marketing their stalls, calling the people to support them and all that, giving them a chance actually to have money to go pay for their tuition fee when the school starts. And they were very happy. So it's very important that, like other entrepreneurs, they should come up with these opportunities, because they are the people who are running the community, they are the people who are taking money from the community, so they should give back in a certain way. You know, keeping your business going, but you are giving back. So any entrepreneur out there, they should not give up, they should push. We know their times are hard, but just give a chance to others. You know, give them a platform. They will bring in ideas, they will do best so that they can grow their businesses.
Namutewa further said that the weekend will be jam-packed with entertainment, including live performances, exhibitions, games and competitions with prizes to be won.
The clock has struck for your daily business and financial news update. Brought to you by The Brief.
Government has been urged to create an enabling environment, policies and programs that will attract more youth to venture into agriculture. Various stakeholders have called for the transformation of the agricultural sector so that it becomes attractive to the youth, as the world slowly moves to embrace climate-smart agribusiness. Lieki Hangala, who was one of the participants at the recently held country private sector diagnostic session hosted by the World Bank Group, said agriculture is a niche that the country has. Therefore, he said focus now should be on investing and enhancing productivity, adding that Namibia has the best climate as it is not subjected to frost weather. Angala said concerted efforts should be geared towards investing and improving the production of subsectors such as grapes and berries so that value can be enhanced, thereby leveraging more as the products reach a wider market. Another participant, Laia Hambinga, said the country should produce quality agriculture products that are competitive on the global market. In addition, she said the standards need to be simplified so that they are understood by everyone to improve conformity. The country's agricultural sector is forecasted to grow by 3.8%, with 4.5% growth predicted for livestock farming, 3% for crop farming and 3.8% for fishing in 2022, according to the Bank of Namibia. Agribank, whose mandate is to fund agricultural projects in the country, forecasted a 4% growth in the agricultural sector for 2022. The Namibia Financial Institutions Supervisory Authority, NAMFISA, says it will continue to roll out its 5-year strategy despite a delay in the implementation of the Financial Institutions and Markets Act, FIMA. NAMFISA Chief Executive Officer Kenneth Matomola said FIMA was supposed to be implemented by the 1st of October, but they foresee that the implementation would take much time, and therefore, given what needs to happen, the removal of cross-referencing might move quickly and the FIMA Act will not affect their strategy. Once FSA bill amendments have been passed by Parliament and assented to by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Namibia, a date for the implementation of FIMA and NAMFISA Acts will be determined by the Minister of Finance. He said given the time frame that is needed to complete regulations, the authority will refocus on having the amendments to the FIMA and NAMFISA Acts passed by Parliament. Matomola said the organization's 2022 to 2027 strategy will focus particularly on 3 overarching themes that will drive the organizational strategy, namely stakeholder engagement, operational efficiency, and innovation. Key to the NAMFISA strategy is the reform in the way in which NAMFISA will be regulating and supervising the non-bank's financial sector. Meanwhile, Matomola said the process of finalizing the subordinate legislation, that is the standards and regulations to be issued under FIMA, is going well and will be completed as planned. Epangelo Mining Company says the government should move swiftly and enact a policy that will allow it to get at least 10% of all mining exploration licenses issued in the country. The state-owned mining company's chief executive officer, Eliphas Hawala, told the brief that the policy, which was approved by cabinet in 2011 but is yet to be enacted into law, will strengthen Epangelo's balance sheet and operations. Hawala said the new policy was taking too long to be implemented due to various schools of thought on the issue. Hawala, however, said exclusivity does not mean others are excluded from getting minerals. Namibia currently has the same law that empowers the National Petroleum Corporation of Namibia, NAMCOR, to automatically receive a 10% equity in all oil and gas exploration activities taking place in the country. When it comes to revenue generation by the mining company, Hawala said the difference between NAMCOR and Epangelo is that NAMCOR receives levies and it has the money to make minimal contributions for exploration. On the other hand, he adds that they fund explorations through getting into joint ventures as well as with the money they get from the fiscus. Quizzed on the company's mining portfolio, he said they want a diversified portfolio so that when uranium prices are down, gold prices might be at the top. He said the company was gearing up to start conducting its own explorations for uranium amid an expected rise in global demand.
This was your daily Namibian business and financial news update. For in-depth stories, read more on thebrief.com.na now.
And that is all we have for you. Be sure to follow us on our social media pages for more on the business front.
Honestly, I've never been so anxious to flip a card.
In your whole life?
My whole entire life. I think it's because I'm probably used to I must know.
You used to having the information
in advance. you know? I'm I know what I'm going to ask her more. Now I'm on the other side and I'm just can we just... and I can't flip the card up until it's my turn, right? Yeah. Let's have a conversation.
I think for me, art is important.
Ooh.
Art is everything. But I think first of all it's important.
I think again, it's about being a nice person, isn't it? Just because somebody's being nasty to you on the road, or you don't necessarily have to be the same as them.
Always were told you needed to have X, Y, and Z. Like at school
By
already,
this
they're telling you,
age,
what do you want to be? You're like, I don't even know what I'm now. We're going to know what I'm then.
I like football.
Relax. Let me just get through today.
This is a nice question.
Okay. Is it about...
No, I wish it was. I wish it was about but it's not.
Christopherus Haikali Haufiku, a 36-year-old who was arrested for allegedly forging COVID-19 vaccination cards last week Tuesday, was granted bail of 5,000 Namibia dollars in the Windhoek Magistrate Court. Saki says alleged perpetrators of murder are also released on bail of 3,000 Namibia dollars. Jonah says at least he made something out of the pandemic. Shikolali asked why activists are still behind bars. Kauton Dokwa said, why is the officer concerned about the suspects getting bail if his job was only to arrest? Wilhelm said a person who intentionally ran over a child was granted bail of 3,000 Namibia dollars. And that's all from Comments Corner. Be sure to continue engaging on our stories on our social media pages for broadcast only on Today on One.
Free shopping is back at Spar, where we're putting smiles on the faces of thousands of Spar Rewards customers when they win their shopping for free. Just shop any participating product, swipe your Spar Rewards card, and go big with Nescafe Recoffee for just $79.99 and Coup Baked Beans and Tomato Sauce for only $12.49. Win your shopping instantly, only at Spar.
Time now for Sports on One with Castro Lumbu.
Good evening and welcome to Sports on One. I'm your host Castro Lumbu. Local athletics coach Letu Hamola today held a press conference which focused on Namibia's participation at the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Issues raised included the selection of the delegation chosen to accompany the team during the international multi-sport event. Letu Hamola questioned the selection process of the delegation that accompanies the teams to international events. This comes after a coach that has never worked with the para-athletes who are currently representing the country at the Commonwealth Games received the notch to accompany the team to the Games, which starts on the 28th of July in Birmingham, Britain.
On the 14th of June, the Namibia Paralympic Committee wrote a letter of the athletes that have qualified for the Birmingham Commonwealth Games. In that list, they added Ms. Belinda Opel-Horsett, who they said that she was the accompanying official. We inquired about it because the athletes that were there were those of myself and Coach Ula, that Coach Bradley Murere, and she has done wonderfully well in 5 years' time to take that young boy of Swakopmund and bring him towards qualification. Must state from the onset that for preparations, there was nothing that was shared with us, and neither were we involved in that. And when Ms. Belinda Opel-Horse's name was indicated there as accompanying official, we wrote a letter on the 30th of June to inquire about why her and not those coaches that coach one of the athletes that have qualified. The reply came that she was only a accompanying official that would be taking care of logistics. The facts are here. However, when the team list of the Commonwealth Games was released by the NNOC and Commonwealth Games Federation of Namibia, we found that Paralympics has a manager in the name of Mr. J.P. Smith, and also they have a coach. So I do not know what logistics Ms. Belinda was going to deal with. So it means that on the letterhead of Paralympic Committee, they lied about the mere fact, because they did not release the fact that Mr. JP was an official, and we had asked for the NNOC to intervene in the matter. But all of a sudden, we do not. All of a sudden, me and Coach Ula's athletes are being tested for doping. Is it a mission that came from the regional anti-doping, or was it a clear targeting of the athletes, because the athletes feel victimized, because the moment their coaches ask the question that where is this coach going, that has not produced any athlete, and now all of a sudden they are being targeted for that.
Former Namibian middle distance athlete Agnes Samaria Vestnes shared the same sentiments as Letu Hamola, while highlighting the importance of a coach to an athlete in competition and out of competition. Vestnes also pleaded with Namibian sport administrators to put the athletes' interests first all the time.
A coach, in as much as important is an athlete, the coach and the athlete, this is how the athletics world works and functions. You have the athlete, you have the coach. These are the people that are every single day, weekends, out in the cold, out in the rain, out in the sunny sun, that are training, because they know come next 4th year or come next 2 years. That's when we have the World Champs, we have the Commonwealth Games every 4th year, we have the Olympic Games every 4th year, and then we have the administration. I don't want to call names, I don't want to point fingers, but these are the two fraternities that are running, or these are the two hands that are actually supposed to merge. And how do you merge these two hands? Only through communication. But for me here, the message is that the coach here needs to be recognized, and the coach must have a place. When the coach's athlete qualifies, the coach must go where? What other politics is about that? Athlete and coach, they work together well. The athlete works hard, the coach works hard, because he has to sit there and plan the trainings program. And he has to see, okay, this athlete here, these are his or her strength. This is how we have to change. This is how we have to make her faster. This is how we have to make them have the endurance. So the coach sits also at night and prepare the training plan so that they can achieve that common goal of making the qualifying standard and then reaching for the gold or the gold medal or the silver or the bronze medal.
The press conference was attended by 2020 Tokyo Paralympic bronze medalist Johannes Nabala and female national record holder in the 400-meter Shibekapora Herunga. Thank you for watching. Catch us again tomorrow for more updates on Sports on One.
Thanks a lot, Castro. Now let's have a look at tomorrow's weather forecast.
A look at the weather forecast. The interior will be partly cloudy and warm to hot. A few light showers are most likely over the extreme eastern parts of the Hardap region in places. A fresh northerly to a northwesterly wind in the interior. The coast will be partly cloudy and mild with morning fog patches. The wind moderate northwesterly to southwesterly.
We've come to the end of tonight's edition of Today on One. Please continue engaging with us on all our social media platforms. From me, Isai Sipunga, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
the International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUL for life. We are IUL.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, the best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
We never thought that this would actually happen in our country, especially for the youth. Everyone wants to play soccer now because it's obsolete.